सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामया, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्, लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु. So, the introductory request which was given to me, I was told that we have to discuss how to be in this life and handle the situations. Which way to handle, what way to do. Now the primary teaching of the Gita is exactly that. Because if you remember, I'm sure many of you might be reading the Gita. And I also hope that while reading the Gita, you try to understand the meaning also, not merely read. So if you look even at a basic exposition of the Gita, the first thing you see is that it starts with a chapter which is called Arjuna Vishada Yoga. You know that the Gita, with its 18 chapters, is a dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna. Even though Krishna talks more and Arjuna talks less, but it's still a dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna. Arjuna talks less because he is a real seeker who knows that he doesn't know. So what is the point of talking? And Krishna talks more because Arjuna is listening. Nowadays in the modern world the situation has changed, it has become upside down. The student talks more than the teacher. I'm not saying it's good or bad, that's the situation. In fact, nowadays, this is Kali Yuga, half is over. There are more gurus than disciples. When the disciple goes, he already thinks he's a guru, he knows. So there is no point in saying anything. And if the teacher is talking and if it suits his understanding, then he says, very good. If it doesn't, then he says, what is this guy saying? This is the situation. But in the Gita, the situation is different. Because the first chapter is Arjuna Vishada Yoga, which means the yoga of Arjuna's dissatisfaction, of Arjuna's sorrow, of Arjuna's confusion, and so on. You can translate it in different ways. So this is the beginning of the Gita, first chapter. You should also remember that it's an ideal teaching for all of us who live in this world and face the world. Why? Because it's supposed to have been taught in the middle of a battlefield. And that battlefield, the Kurukshetra battle is over, but the battlefield is still here with us. It's been there from immemorial times. We face the battle of the world. We're in the middle of a battle. And when it says Arjuna Vishada Yoga, we are all in some way like Arjuna, including me. Right now I appropriated Krishna's role for temporarily, but actually we are all Arjunas. So, this is the teaching, and see how it progresses. Krishna is supposed to act based on certain principles. He lays down his bow and arrow, and he says, I'm not going to work, I'm going to give up. Falsely thinking that by giving up he is doing a great, what do you call it? Some word? Favor. That by not fighting he is doing somebody a great favor. And Krishna tells him, listen, you are not doing anybody any favor, you are doing your favor to yourself. You are fearful that you might fail in this battle, therefore you are finding many excuses and trying to say, oh, I better not do this. let me go back, I don't want to lift up my weapons. Now this situation we face in life all the time. There is good and bad to decide. Whether our act produces the maximum good or whether it produces harm to others, we're always stuck in the middle of this kind of an indecision. We don't know how to act, what to do. Now for that, each chapter of the Gita is called an yoga. Every chapter, including Arjuna Vishada Yoga. The next is Sankhya, then Karma, and so on, till it goes to the 18th chapter, which is Moksha Sannyasa Yoga. So it's a gradual movement. Now we are saying, all of us in different situations in our life face the same problem. We don't know what to do, whether we should act or whether we should withdraw. And withdrawal is often mistaken to be a very saintly act, when it could be a cowardly act. This is a perfect misunderstanding of sattva and tamoguna. According to Sankhya, which is also covered in the Gita, Sankhya of the great Muni Kapila, there are the entire nature, including our minds and the physical world, are all covered by three basic principles called sattva, rajas and tamas. The three gunas. All of us, you and me, have a mixture of these three gunas in some proportion or the other. Some may have more sattva, some may have more tamoguna, some may have more rajas. Now the teaching of the Gita is, I'll explain first the gunas, but the teaching of the Gita is it possible to balance this? When I become lazy, then I am in the section called the tamoguna. What is tamoguna? Laziness, inertia. No good thought will come into the mind. There are some people who live in this world all their lives who cannot sleep well if they don't do one bad deed a day. Believe me, there are people. If I cause harm to somebody little bit, then I am very happy, I can sleep well. Any negative action, if I don't, I am not so happy. Now this is a clear example of the predominance of tamoguna. And then laziness. I also have good friends who say that after lunch in the afternoon, they go into samadhi, closed doors, which is sattva-guna. And you can hear the omkar if you put your ear near the keyhole. That particular omkar sounds like this. But they think they are doing a very sattvic act. So, what I am trying to say is between sattva and tamoguna, it looks sometimes alike in its manifestation, but it's actually quite different. And much of our problem of not doing work, not on, is mistaking tamoguna for sattva-guna. I think I am a saint, so why should I do it? Actually, I am so lazy, I don't want to do it. In this world, if you don't work, you cannot earn your living. If you are earning your living without work, then you are actually committing a crime against somebody who is working hard to lead his life. So this mistaking of laziness and lethargy and inertia as a very holy state of mind is to be avoided. We need to live in this world properly. Now, when lethargy, inertia, negativeness overtakes a mind, we need to bring it to sattva only through rajas. And rajas is activity, action. So, in fact, Swami Vivekananda even said, if you cannot read the Gita, play football. Not my court, his court. So, we need to be active physically. We need to be active. To meditate is not to kill the mind. There is somewhere that misunderstanding also. To meditate is to make the mind so fine and subtle that it is in peace, unruffled. Nobody tries for many years, 50 years, 60 years, to reach a state where the mind is dead. Somewhere people have a wrong impression. I want to become thoughtless. I said, to become thoughtless, you don't have to meditate. Hit somebody on the head with a crowbar, immediately you will. इसमें कोई effort की ज़रूरत नहीं. Somewhere we got this wrong notion, thoughtless. Can't be thoughtless. When I say I'm thoughtless, I'm thinking. I'm saying I am thoughtless, then who is me? Thought. If I don't even know I exist, then I'm unconscious or in deep sleep. So, what did I say just now before? What? No, before that. That I know. Okay. So, to meditate actually in the yogic context means to shift from the negative tamo guna to sattva through certain activity. Now, in the outside world, it is activity which is as less self-centered as possible, but activity. When you're only working for yourself, that is good, that's also activity. But when I work for others, then I'm still working, but my mind is expanding because I'm thinking beyond myself. I'm only thinking about myself. So that's the way to expand the mind. So in the physical world, work for yourself, of course, you have to survive, but also work for others, to good to somebody. With that, there is rajas, and because you want to help others and do work for others, your rajoguna becomes a pure rajoguna. When it is purified enough, then it slowly ascends into sattva. And that sattva is not lethargy, not self-centeredness, not laziness. It's a state of a tranquil mind. But we are saying, like Krishna says in the Gita, the tranquil mind, when it works, it can achieve things which the ordinary disturbed mind cannot achieve. It may not be for oneself because we don't need anything. Maybe to get things done for others. And one also learns one point in attention, which when applied to any activity or thought brings instant results. The reason why results don't come is because there is no one point. I want to do something, my mind is wandering somewhere else. We are saying it is possible to bring it together. How? First, by understanding the definition of yoga as given in the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, which is Yoga's Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Yoga is the calming down of the disturbing movements of thought in the mind. This is not a literal translation, it's a free translation. Because Chitta means mind stuff. Vritti are the waves of movement in the Chitta. And Nirodha is the stopping. Stopping meaning the settling down of it. Not a forceful stopping, but a settling down. When this happens, when the mind is quiet and calm, not thoughtless, quiet and calm like a witness, without, like the Gita compares it in the Dhyana Yoga chapter, as a flame when there is no wind. Steady flame, otherwise the flame is moving. So when this happens, couple of things happen, if it happens and when it happens. Well, nobody can dictate when it will happen. And if anybody says there is a shortcut to it, don't waste time and money. There is no shortcut. There are only long cuts. It's because we look for shortcuts that we usually end up getting loans and not paying back and so on. So, when the mind has thus settled down and when it is quiet, when it is not distracted, when the energies of the mind are not being wasted, then there is tremendous energy generated inside. Marvelous amounts of energy which are in a yogi, real yogi, are more than the bomb that was dropped in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, but not in a harmful way. And the good news is that we all possess that potential. It's not confined to somebody and not to somebody. The very fact that the great rishis have said and who have listened to them have later experienced themselves is that the supreme being or the supreme energy or whatever you want to call it, God, the supreme Lord, or in fact the great gurus of the Sikh faith, they simply call it Akal, that which has no time, which means that which is inexpressible through words. That all-pervading energy, the good news is, a spark of that is in every living being. And in the human being, it can be recognized. Everybody has it, all animals also have. They don't have the capacity to recognize or be aware of it. Well, we have. Unfortunately, we don't, but that's a different matter. But we have the capacity. So, that all-pervading supreme energy resides in every heart as a spark of the divine, which various great teachers have called Antaryami, Atma, Bindu. Many words can be used, but it is there. So, when the mind becomes calm in its goodness, when it is not distracted, when it is perfectly poised in the tranquility of peace, then the spark is recognized as being one with the Supreme. This is the meaning of yoga, yud, to come together. And I think everyone can get there. Even if you don't get there, theoretically, if you even think that this is possible, then we still have tremendous energy to do.